Greetings everybody, it's Leviathan here, and I'm bringing you my thoughts on what to do about the Necromancer, Rise of the Necromancer character pack. One of the main questions I've been getting a lot lately is, Leviathan, the Rise of the Necromancer character pack costs XYZ dollars where I live. Should I buy it? And when I think about this, a few things come to mind. Mainly, are you still actively playing Diablo 3? Because I think if you are, then there's no reason to not get it. It essentially adds one more component to what you can do in the game. So let's say, for instance, that your favorite class is the Demon Hunter. You love doing Greater Rifts, you're farming for gear, you're so happy Primals are here, and now Necromancer drops. Well, you might have played Demon Hunter for the last 5 seasons, right? And so you're really good with that, but you've never branched out. Maybe the Necromancer comes in, you purchase it, you try it, and you're like, wow, I actually really like the Necromancer. This is kind of cool. This pet thing's interesting. And then that might branch you into the Witch Doctor or something like that. So I think if you're still loving Diablo 3, there's no reason to not pick up the Necromancer. It just adds another tool to your kit of ways to play the game. Now the other side of things, and I'll just go ahead and throw some like footage on here. This has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but it'll allow you to see some Necromancer stuff. And if you like the build, by the way, it's the Unarius Speed Nova build that I was putting together on stream a few days ago, and have a video for it here on the channel, so feel free to check that out. But if you're not playing the game well, then that might give you something to think about, because at that point you're wondering, well, will the Necromancer bring me back? Is there a reason for the Necromancer to change my opinion on Diablo 3? Will it make me want to play Diablo 3 more? And my honest opinion is probably not. The Necromancer at its core does not change how the game works. You still have to do Greater Rifts, you still have to do regular Rifts, you're still grinding for Paragon, you're still competing on leaderboards, you're still doing seasonal resets. Like none of that core stuff is changing. And there are some new features that come with patch 2.6, but all of that's actually free. So you could go and do challenge rifts and things like that without buying the Necromancer. So my thing would be, if you're on the outside of Diablo 3 looking in, maybe you used to play, maybe you've never played, if you have never really been into games that have a lot of grinding or reasons to continue to do the same thing over and over and over, then this is probably not the game for you, and the Necromancer is not going to improve that experience by any means. So the Necromancer at its core does not change how Diablo 3 functions. It doesn't make the game any different than it currently is, but for those who are still actively playing and enjoying it, I think it's a solid pickup. Now, one of the things that people have been really wondering is the price point fair, right? Like, it's $15, which is what it is in the US, $14.99. Is that too expensive, or is it too costly? And it depends on how you're looking at it. If you compare across some of Blizzard's other offerings, like Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft, etc., you have things that are similarly priced and potentially add less functionality to the game. For instance, you can buy like mounts, and okay, you have a cool looking mount now in World of Warcraft, but that doesn't really change what you can do. You still are using your Death Knight, you're still using your Hunter or whatever, right? In Heroes, arguably, it's a little bit more impactful because you're buying a brand new hero, and that will definitely change up, you know, some of the ways that you play the game, the way you might approach different maps, things like that. So there are some things to consider there, but again, it's the same, around the same price point. One of the arguments I see for Diablo 3, though, is that, oh, it's just too much for what we get in terms of how Diablo 3 works. And I think you might have to consider the totality of the circumstance. I actually have a list here of some things to consider that have happened with Diablo 3 since the launch of Reaper of Souls, right? So, yeah, Torment levels 1 through 13, we added more difficulties. We started out Torment 1 through 6, and then eventually we got 7 through 10, then eventually 11 through 13. There are a bunch of legendary items that have come along the way with new powers. Think to Holy Point Shot gaining its power, the Faithful Memory for Crusaders, just a bunch of random things like that along the way. Tons that I can't even recall right now, but some of those at least are the most impactful in the current state of the game, current meta. New class sets, you know, the rework to Invokers, the rework to Might of the Earth, all those things that occurred, Shadows rework, etc. You have seasons that came in. And also just new sets in general too. If you recall, like even back to when Crusader first came out, it didn't have 4 sets, right? Like Seeker of the Light got added, and Roland's became a thing, and all that stuff. So there's been development since 2014, March 2014, when Reaper of Souls first launched. Seasons were added, and that was later, August 2014. So that was later that year, and now we've still been under the seasonal gameplay for years now, I suppose. The seasonal journey became a thing after a while too, which added to some robustness for the season. Greater rifts, the way to compete with leaderboards and all that. So the whole entirety of that system, adding some replayability and additional gameplay. Adventure mode zones were added in. You've got Ruins of Sescheron, and this current patch you've got Shrouded Moors, you've got the Temple of the Firstborn. They added that extension area to Leoric's Manor, for instance. The cesspools, Grey Hollow Island, Eternal Woods. You have new legendary gems that came in as well too, with Boyarsky's Chip. Some of the other ones along the way that I can't think of either, like Bane of the Stricken, that was added in along the way. Legendary potions were added. That's like here or there, but they've added new ones along the way. The Potion of Fear, the Teleport one, etc. New treasure goblins, the Menagerous Goblin, the whole pet thing, all those transmogs that came out on that one patch. All the, people are still looking for their cosmic wings, for instance. All those things came along. Set dungeons were added in. Take that or leave that, but it was a feature that was added in. That was one of the main draws from a couple of BlizzCons ago. Kanai's Cube, game-changing, absolutely game-changing. All the recipes and things in there that allow the acquisition of gear to just honestly increase tenfold, 100-fold. It's so much easier now to fight RNG with the cube and to really just do a whole bunch of things that further your character's power and whatnot. So the Kanai's Cube, a huge, huge, huge feature. And then of course now the Armory, which was just last season, and it feels like we've had it forever, and that's game changing too. Pardon me. To be able to just add in tons of ability to play different builds very quickly on the fly, and also to tweak your build on the fly too. I feel like it adds more to players that love to just tinker and min-max and stuff, because look at that, there's the Armory right there on screen. You can just grab different sets as quickly as you want to. So all those things considered, you could say, well, some of them should have been in the game, and some of them were probably going to be included in Reaper of Souls, but there wasn't time. But to some degree also, there probably were features looking forward that could have been in some sort of expansion or like bigger release for coupling with the Necromancer, right? And if they waited and did that, then probably along the way, there would have been a lot of complaints, a lot of, oh my gosh, this is so boring, there's nothing new, nothing impactful is happening in the game, we have to keep waiting and waiting, and that would suck. I would say that if you look at what we've gotten over time, you're almost back paying for it if you get the Rise of the Necromancer. Or maybe it's your way of saying thanks for all the free updates or something to that effect. Even within the Rise of the Necromancer, you're getting some of the things people have been like exclaiming for. 2 stash tabs, more character slots, a bunch of cosmetics and things like that. Things people said they would have paid for, all along the way if there was some sort of like transactional, microtransaction, shop sort of thing. So now you kind of have it. And I don't know, I still see the complaints on the price. I think the price is fair. You get a class, you get the stash tabs. Even if you value stash tabs at like $5 each, even if you value them at $3 each, then you're still getting a class for $9 or $5, whatever value price point you want to put on it. So I guess my point in making this video and talking about all this stuff and thinking about it is that it really depends on you. I could give you a million reasons to get it. I could give you another million reasons to not get it. At the end of the day, it's really your concern as to whether you want to have more stuff to do with Diablo 3. If you're not playing, then, you're probably not playing. If you're not playing, you're probably not even watching this video, to be honest. If you're on the outskirts and you're on the fence, you're trying to decide, give it a go, honestly. Like, I've seen people have been giving away keys. People have been, like saying like, hey, I'll throw you some dollars or whatever. So like, I don't know, if it's really hitting you that hard in the wallet, try to see if you can get a friend to, loan you some dollars or something, or even just watch a stream, like watch my stream, watch other streams, watch videos, see if the Necromancer playstyle appeals to you, and you might be able to come up with a reason or two that the sacrifice of those dollars is worth it. at the end of the day, I think if you want Diablo to do well, if you want the franchise to continue to do well, and if you want potentially more character packs and things like this in the future for a class that maybe hits harder for you, like a Druid or an Amazon maybe, support it. Support it now, because otherwise, if it's unpopular, if it doesn't seem like it's doing as well as Blizzard anticipated, then they might not have the motivation to continue to do this. And I do think the new game is coming. There's going to be something else for the Diablo franchise. I think it's years off. So we want developments like this. We want things to add in a little bit of freshness to what us long-standing players can do, because it's added an influx of theory crafting and creativity and build making. And without that, it's going to be a long wait for the next game. So I've rambled pretty much, a long time. I hope that gave you some sort of insight or helped you just kind of see where we've come from to where we are now. Maybe reasons to support the Necro and all its stuff that seems pretty fun in general. And I think the kinks are being worked out, and hopefully it'll be an even better experience as we continue on Season 11, Season 12, and whatnot. So until next time, feel free to leave me some comments if you have some opinions and thoughts on the Necromancer as well, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!